Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the KYCA PM show. I promised the panel of all knowledge, but we're going to hold off on that until next week when we can make our year end predictions because right now we really want to kind of celebrate Christmas and think about that. So it's just me again this afternoon, and I'm going to be telling you what we're going to be doing for the rest of the week here on KYCA. We're going to be kind of in holiday mode a little bit later this week, but tomorrow's going to be fairly normal, as normal as we can be. We'll just say that. If you're on Facebook, welcome. We are doing this live, so we are on Facebook. We do have the video. And if you're on Facebook, maybe you saw the picture of Santa that we had on there. Yes, I tried the beard. Yes, it's real. That was Santa. Definitely, that came into the studio with Lisa, Santa, and Mrs. Claus, and we certainly thank them for coming in again this year on their busy schedule and coming to say hello to all the kids here in the Prescott area. So uh, I I I do apologize. I had to try the beard, but there it is. So I'm getting coal this year. I'm resigned to it. It's okay. I take one for the team here, but I should have known it was Santa. We know that. They knew that. We all knew that. I'm a skeptic sometimes, I guess. Well, anyway, fantastic time for Santa and Mrs. Claus to be in, and uh, we certainly appreciate everybody being here, and we certainly appreciate all of you folks tuning in here on KYCA. And of course, you can check out our website, kyca.info, and Facebook. We're on there too, and our YouTube channel, which is KYCA Digital. Okay, there we are. Have I named everybody? Have I gotten through the whole list? Did I make it? Andrew, you're supposed to tell me something. Did I get everybody? I think I did. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, that's good enough. Okay, tomorrow afternoon, we are not going to have Karen Fan on for the KYCA PM show. Instead, we're going to be bringing you a couple of editions of A Classic Christmas, as we usually do on Christmas Eve. Tonight, we have the Red Skelton show. That's going to be at 6 o'clock. Tomorrow at 4, we're going to have two shows. Typically, I like to play Gunsmoke during that time, but we're going to see. And I'm going to see if I can throw a comedy in there too, because we all need a nice laugh while we're out traveling and getting ready for Christmas. And then tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock, it is the Bing Crosby show that's going to be closing out our classic Christmas here on KYCA. Thursday and Friday, we're going to be kind of on a holiday schedule. We're going to be on a holiday news schedule as well. Thursday will be a lot of our local shows being taped and airing best of shows. In the morning, we will be having from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. the Dave Ramsey program. And then from 4 to 6 on Christmas evening, we will be having Lars Larson on for a few hours from 4 to 6. And then on Friday morning, we're going to have the Michael Berry program from 6 in the morning to 8 a.m. It's going to be the repeat show from the night before. And then again, we'll have Lars Larson on from 4 to 6 Friday afternoon. However, the KYCA Talks program at 8 o'clock Friday morning will be live. Marianne Suttles wanted to come in, and she's got Chris Kuknio from the Yavapai County Board of Supervisors coming in. So it's going to be a great show, and that's going to be live Friday morning here on KYCA. Saturday morning, the shows are probably going to be best of pretty much. So that's Tri-City Sports Roundup, Dr. Hancock's Healthline, and Drive Time AZ. And that's probably for the next two Saturdays because we've got some holidays coming up. People are going to be off, but we hope you tune in and enjoy our shows because they are wonderful no matter when we play them and no matter how old they are. So there you go. But we're live right now, and the phone lines are open, 928-541-1016, if you want to talk about what's going to be happening for your Christmas. We've got a lot of news breaking around the country in terms of things that are happening, again, that are pro-America. And, of course, today, as it was reminded of me just a few minutes ago, and if you are watching, you can see the poll behind me. It's Festivus. That's right. It's Festivus. It's the time and the holiday for the rest of us. And so, as we begin today's show, the airing of grievances. And I got a lot of problems with you people out there. No, I don't. Not too many grievances. We live in a great country. We have a great situation. We have a president who is actually putting America first, and we see that now. We are seeing the economy strengthening and getting better. We are seeing our situation improving around the world. And yes, there are people who might be an adversary to us. Iran, Russia, China, possibly North Korea. We don't know. We never know what's going on over there. I'll take respect, and respect has returned after 4 years of the worst presidency we have ever seen in our lives and possibly for the entire country's history. So I'll take respect. As I believe it was the motto of Caligula. I want to check this out before I actually put it out there, but it's a motto that I have seen many times, and it is a good motto to live by. Oderint dum metuant. It's a Latin phrase from a Roman playwright, Accius, that translates to "let them hate so long as they fear." And great motto to live by, and that's certainly something that we see here in the United States as we start to return to a level of strength and respect. That's what I see anyway. Some people might not agree, but then again, you're not Donald Trump, and he gets to put his name on John F. Kennedy buildings, and you don't. So, by the way, he did post today that the Trump Kennedy Center honors will be hosted by him later this week. So it's going to be an interesting time for all. But anyway, as you see behind us, the Festivus poll is up, and that means that no, folks, you don't get to air grievances here. That's my job. But hopefully we have also aired some great things here on KYCA this year as well. As I said, there's some news, some things going on. Oh, by the way, we've got a lot of sports on KNOT. You like football? We got a triple header on Christmas Day of NFL. There's a game going on right now. There's the Hawaii Bowl tomorrow evening. Lots of bowl games, lots of NFL action. 14:50 a.m. That's the team, 14:50 KNOT. Okay, a few national stories very quickly before we get very much further. And these are things that have dropped over the past day or so. First and foremost, we want to talk about the Trump battleships, the Trump-class battleships that we discussed yesterday. It's really interesting, and the Babylon Bee has quite the take on it. If you're watching, or if you haven't watched, you might want to tune in. We've got some interesting graphics about what these ships are going to be all about. Here's a big thing that just broke according to Live Action News. The Department of Justice has officially reversed a Biden-era decision that allowed the Department of Veterans Affairs, that is the VA, to commit abortions at the expense of taxpayers. In 2022, according to the story, the Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel determined that federal law allows the VA to commit abortions on veterans at the expense of taxpayers at any point in pregnancy. In August 2025, the VA issued a new rule that again prohibited abortion from VA medical benefits. And a memorandum released from the Department of Justice Deputy Assistant Attorney General Josh Craddock on Monday confirmed that the VA, quote, may not provide abortion services, end quote. Another victory for life out there, and I am glad to see it, definitely. Especially, you don't think about the VA as doing something like that, but it's good to see that they have reversed that. That is a wonderful thing. Next thing that has happened, there's a story out according to Fox News Business that the first CEO of the Internal Revenue Service is reinforcing signals from the Trump administration that America could see, in his words, the biggest tax refund ever in the new year. We should expect exactly what the president said, as always happens. That's according to Frank Bisignano, who is also the commissioner at the Social Security Administration, as he said on Fox today. He confirmed that major tax refunds are expected in 2026. He predicted the largest tax refund season of all time. Many families could save between $11,000 and $20,000 a year on their taxes. According to the IRS CEO, quote, you're going to look at probably 94% plus of middle-class Americans getting a boost. Your tax rate's coming down and getting the benefit going forward, end quote. So that, again, good news. We're hoping that this is absolutely true, and we will see it for ourselves when we come to the IRS and tax season this spring. Looking forward to seeing if this is actually going to happen. I certainly hope so. And, this is a man who's been keeping his promises. There we go. We hope to see another one. That would be fantastic. And Rand Paul, what caught me on Festivus today, Senator Rand Paul puts out a Festivus list of his Festivus grievances, which is basically government waste. And we'll go over that list when we come back, because this is quite the list this year. Rand Paul does some good ones, but this list tops, I think, most of them. Well, we'll get back to that after the break here on KYCA. 928-541-1016. Have you got some Christmas memories? Want to tell a story? Fantastic. Give us a call or just say hello and Merry Christmas. We love that too. Back after this. Okay, we're back here on the KYCA PM show on this day before Christmas. It is Festivus, and we hope you're having a wonderful day out there as we see the storm starting to move into the area. Yes, folks, it's going to be a rainy Christmas. Don't really see it getting cold enough for a white Christmas almost anywhere in Arizona except at the extreme high elevations. Last I heard, the snow level is probably going to be around 9,000 feet, and we'll see what the National Weather Service has to say as this storm approaches. So hopefully we're going to get a little snow up in the high country, but I don't expect anything here. But we'll keep an eye on the weather as we go forward. Okay, very quickly. 928-541-1016. It's time for Senator Rand Paul's Festivus Grievances on Government Waste 2025. So let's go over the list he released today. For the seventh straight year, the report features wasteful animal tests exposed by the WCW, including, hold on to your hats, folks, $5.2 million to inject beagles with cocaine and meth, $13.8 million for Dr. Fauci's ongoing maximum pain tick bite experiments on beagles, $1 million for a dangerous USDA CCP bird flu gain of function collaboration, $77 million for the Navy's outdated marine mammal program, $54 million doled out by USAID to the disgraced and debarred EcoHealth Alliance. And that's something the Doge Committee caught up on. $14 million plus to force monkeys to play a Plinko game knockoff. And last but certainly not least, $1 million wasted to create binge drinking ferrets. Your taxpayer money at work, ladies and gentlemen. Well, apparently a lot of this is being dealt with, hopefully. That's what the Doge Committee is for. Yes, it is still in action, by the way. And they are moving to continue to look for more waste. They just took out some of the big guns right off the bat, USAID being one of them, and that was fantastic. More news today. House Democratic Representative Joyce Beatty has sued President Donald Trump yesterday, hoping to force the removal of his name from the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. The lawsuit from the Congresswoman, who serves as an ex officio member of the board, argues that the board's vote to rename the building was illegal because an act of Congress is required for such action. Well, as they say, it's better to seek forgiveness than ask permission. And President Trump does not need to ask permission on many things, and so he just kind of did it. So the Trump Kennedy Center honors will be on TV apparently within the next few weeks. You look at some of these things and you begin to wonder where all this comes from. What the heck is going on? Well, there's still quite a bit of waste. We know this in the federal government. Just because Donald Trump came on board on January 20th doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to be fixed by January 21st, as we've seen. The capital of Italy was not constructed in 24 hours, you know. Yes, I know. Rome wasn't built in a day. Sorry. So anyway, you got to take some time. Remember, if you were around and politically cognizant in 1980, that we had such a horrible economy coming off of President Carter, that President Reagan come in, and it took 2 years to really get the economy rolling again for President Reagan. Once it got going, it was great, but it took 1.5 years to 2 years to really get moving. So bear that in mind, folks, and be patient. President Trump hasn't even been in office a year yet, and he is still outperforming just about anybody else that's been in that office at any point before. So we're looking, we're watching this and just saying, it's going to be something. So everybody, patience, perseverance, that's what we need to do. 928-541-1016. Are you traveling? Are you going to be hosting? Do you have a great Christmas story from when you were a kid? Let me know. For me, growing up in the early 80s, and I grew up in the 70s and early 80s, I was born in 1970. In the 70s, we missed the lawn darts, darn it. I really, really, really wanted a set of lawn darts, but that was dangerous. Kids were whipping them over the house, just doing all sorts of crazy things as they do. And so when I was growing up, there were games. We loved the board games and all of that. And I can remember being about 11 or 12 years old, and that's when the Atari really hit the scene. And it was the first video game system. Were you going to get an Atari? Were you going to get an Odyssey? And we got an Atari, I think, when I was about 12 years old, something like that. You played really bad versions of Space Invaders and Pac-Man. Pac-Man was horrible. It did not translate well into the Atari. And then you start graduating up to the Nintendos and the Segas and all the rest of that stuff as time went on. Game Boy came along. And then personal computers in the 80s and the 90s, the internet in 1995, 96, somewhere in there. So, technology moves ahead, things move ahead. But in a way, yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to the 70s and early 80s and some of the cool toys we had there. Star Wars stuff, of course. I can't remember what the name of it was. There was this toy that, and I got one of these. I think I still have it packed away, to be honest. It was that cool. And it would make noise and it would fire guns. It was kind of a flying spaceship of some sort. It wasn't really modeled on anything. And I don't know if I've shown you, Andrew. I've got to really show you. It was really cool. I missed a couple of the accessories. Some of the stickers are gone, but by golly, it still works. And you put a battery in it, and if you point it up, you'd hear it go, and then you point it, That was high technology back then, and that was fantastic. But there were also other things that we had, beanbag games and board games and big wheels and cool stuff like that. So, boy, that was something else back then. You want to know what you're getting for Christmas, Andrew? Well, I'm not telling, but as long if you continue your belief in Santa Claus, you're going to get some nice presents, I'm sure. All right, there you go. Yeah, he's happy about that. But it has certainly changed, and now we're beginning to learn it. At least the lovely and gracious Suzanne and myself, as Andrew is our youngest child, and he is not a kid anymore. You'd like to think he was a kid, but he's not a kid anymore. And so you start having to think, well, what do you do for adult kids, and what do you do for your adult children and all of that? And it begins to become a practical thing, and you're kind of stuck on that. Oh, no, 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 no. Andrew, you're not getting that for Christmas. So we'll just leave it at that. Um, but then when your kids have kids, I can see right now already this is where the spoiling comes in, and it's fantastic. However, I will tell you this. I'm going to be the first one to invest in some very serious wire snippers when the younger kids come along. I'm going to have peace in my house, and unless it's a drum set, it's not going to make noise. So there, I've laid down the law. That should work, right, Andrew? Nah, he's not even looking at me anymore. I don't blame him. Anyway, folks, we've got a lot to discuss and a lot of things going on. I want to talk about the Trump battleships and some other things coming up. And tell me what you're going to be doing for Christmas. Hope that you folks are having a wonderful time out there. It is going to be a great, great year. It's been a great year. I know things have seemed a little precarious in some ways. And yes, there's kind of a transition when you go to a new president, but there's a lot of work to do to recover our economy and our country. And we're getting there. We're making progress. So this is a good thing. I was just talking, by the way, tune in this afternoon or this evening. Later on, we've got the repeat of the morning report with Selena Bliss to talk about what she's going to be doing down at the legislature. And we're going to have her and Kwong Win coming into the studio about mid-January when the legislative session starts. We're going to have them come in and talk about what's going to be coming up this year down at the state legislature. And hopefully they're actually going to be able to get some things done without worrying about all the vetoes that Governor, Katie Hobbs is going to be throwing their way. So that's what we're hoping for. All right, 928-541-1016, folks. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I hope we're going to get a lot of moisture over the next few days. I hope that everybody drives safely and carefully. Don't go into low crossings where there's water. I think you know that by now. You would think everybody knows that by now, but typically visitors just don't know where the low crossings are, and then it's too late. So please be very careful out there if we do tend to get a lot of rain right now. And we want everybody to be safe over the holiday. If you're traveling tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, please be careful, especially if you're going down to Phoenix. The flex lanes are open. It's fantastic, but still, keep an eye out for each other, okay? Back after this on KYCA. And we're back here on the KYCA PM show. Jason Zinzilieta sitting in on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Yes, it's getting a little colder outside. You can feel the humidity going up. You can smell it in the air. It's coming. We're going to be getting some rain. So it's going to be a wet Christmas. That's okay. We need the moisture. We can do that. That's a nice Christmas present for the whole area. 928-541-1016 on this Christmas Christmas Eve. Thank you. Festivus. We'll just say Festivus. And you can see the poll behind us if you're watching on Facebook or on our webpage. The poll is there to remind us of American ingenuity and industrial strength. And the tensile strength of the pole does not have any distracting tinsel lights or anything else around it so that we can admire the pole itself. And that is some of the heart of what we love about Festivus and the airing of grievances. I'll get there. Here's something before we get to the battleships, and I love the Trump-class battleships. This story came across through the BBC. Donald Trump has said the U.S. will keep or sell the crude oil contained on tankers it has seized off the coast of Venezuela, as well as the vessels themselves. Washington continues to pressure the South American country's leader, Maduro, to stand down. Speaking to reporters in Florida on Monday, Trump said of the oil, quote, "We're going to keep it," adding, quote, "Maybe we will sell it, maybe we will keep it, maybe we'll use it in the strategic reserves," end quote. I'm all for it, especially after Joe Biden, I cannot put the word president in front of that. Joe Biden sold a lot of oil out of our strategic reserve and at not very good prices, and then the price went up, and they did not buy anything back. I'm sorry to say, Joe Biden retires from government service being president, vice president, and a member of the Senate for decades without having accomplished really anything positive for the country. I cannot name one thing positive that he was a part of in the Senate, certainly not as vice president, and almost certainly not as president of the United States. That is a sad indictment of a wasted career, a career that was based on the fact that he himself was the most important thing. I heard a story today that said Hunter Biden is complaining that he is millions in debt with no way to pay it back and no prospects. That's what happens when you trade off of a person rather than a product, and that person, their career ends, and that's it. It's sad state of affairs. Okay, the Trump battleships, USS Defiant. I've got some possible names too. I mean, I know we're an American Navy, but you got to put Excalibur in there somewhere. That just is the coolest name ever outside of Enterprise and Yorktown and Intrepid and all the rest of the really cool names we've had. Okay, let's bring that graphic up real quick. So if you're watching, you're going to see this. This is kind of what the battleship has to offer, according to the speculative plans that are out there. This ship is not quite as big as an Iowa-class battleship that we know of from World War II. An Iowa-class ship displaces about 58,000 tons. The Trump-class ships, such as the Defiant, will displace anywhere from 30 to 40,000 tons, depending on armament and crew. But the length will be about the same. It will be about as big as a nominal battleship, an Iowa-class battleship as we know it. But among the weapons, there will not be any huge banks of 16-inch guns or 18-inch guns or anything like that, which is cool, you have to admit. But a battleship these days, especially with the advent of carriers and what else we have, you just can't get close to shore. That's just the way it is. So it will have missile emplacements. It will have a flight deck and hangar that will be able to take a V-22 Osprey. It has counter systems. It has vertical launch missile cells. It has Block 3 missiles as well. It has some conventional prompt strike missiles. It will have a rail gun on the front, which will throw projectiles several miles. It will also have several 5-inch guns, several 30-millimeter guns for defense. It is a gas turbine and diesel-powered ship. I was hoping for a nuclear battleship. That would be way too cool. And it also has various other weapons, countermeasures, and things like that. Now, if you go by what the Babylon Bee has to say, there are many more features as well. Babylon Bee, of course, being the conservative satire site, they put out their own version of what they said was some of the great things about the Trump battleship. Do we have that? Can we bring that up real quick? Okay. If you're watching, you're going to see this. Some of the improvements to the battleship that will also be available according to the Babylon Bee. There will be a full-service McDonald's on board, of course. It will be powered by galley slaves who were members of MS-13. There will also be a flux capacitor so that the ship can travel back in time and stop the Pearl Harbor attack. There will also be a Tesla self-driving feature on the battleship so that the guys can take a little break out in the middle of the ocean and not have to worry about where the ship's going. There will be a hallway lined with photos of past naval admirals, which with plaques detailing their accomplishments in comparison to President Trump. There will be a plank on board the ship as well, so that people will have to be able to walk the plank, and that will happen as well. Of course, a golden Trump figurehead on the front of every ship for good fortune. A Rosie O'Donnell seeking missile system that is going to be placed on there, and also great big beautiful guns. That's what that's what the Babylon Bee says about some of the things. Oh, and unlike the regular game of Battleship, this battleship requires 4 pegs to sink instead of 3. So a very big upgrade for battleships there. Okay, well, we're looking forward to this, and if Trump can pull this off, it's going to be amazing. But just think about all of the things that he has caused. The leftists and the liberals are losing their minds over this, as they have with a lot of Trump's thoughts. And once again, he is living rent-free in their heads and has proven it yet again with the Trump-class battleships. I don't care if they ever produce one, much less the 10 that he wants. Mission accomplished. Fantastic. Okay, let's take a break here on KYCA 928-541-1016. More about Christmas and other things after this. Okay, we're back here on the KYCA PM show, 928-541-1016. We want to talk a little bit about Christmas a little bit later, of course, but there's so much good stuff out there. Some things not so good, maybe, but according to Breitbart this afternoon, the Supreme Court rules against Trump sending National Guard to sanctuary city of Chicago. Now, well, he's going to try to appeal it, but that is the Supreme Court. So we're going to see if what happens here. We're hoping do you want law and order or not? Washington, D.C. has turned into a great city. Memphis has turned into a much better city than they were after the National Guard came and helped the police get some control over it. Plus, you throw in a few deportations, things are looking up. So let's take care of Chicago. I love Chicago. I have visited Chicago several times. It's a wonderful city to be from. And it's a great city to live in. And it should be a great city. And it's not. And that is sad, folks. That is sad. It's very sad that we have great cities that are almost unlivable as far as Americans are concerned. That shouldn't be. That should not be. But when you put a Democrat in charge, that's what happens. So, unfortunately, that just breaks my heart. It really does. A lot of other things going on. Of course, things are winding down around here after I think a very successful Christmas season for Arizona's Christmas City. Akron Night was absolutely perfect with tons and tons of musicians and tons of people. We had a whole ton of people again at the lighting and the courthouse, at the parade, and because the weather was just unbelievably beautiful. I mean, knock your socks off gorgeous. It really was. And so we've had a great year. Now we have the rain coming in right at the end at Christmas, which is fine. Just everybody needs to bear that in mind as we go forward and get ready for what's coming in terms of Christmas, Boxing Day, New Year's, all the rest of that stuff next week. And, of course, the boot drop downtown, 10 p.m. and midnight on New Year's Eve. We don't know what the weather's going to be like. We'll let you know as we go along. But for now, beautiful time. 928-541-1016. We've got quite a bit more to talk about and more things going on here in the Prescott area. I look ahead to Prescott in 2026, and I know that we have new members of the council and things like that. I'm really hoping that, well, like we said yesterday, and I'm going to say it again, they need to serve the community as a whole. They are not there to satisfy the whims of a very few people who are extremely loud and happen to be at all the council meetings. And I guess as we heard earlier today, as I heard somebody else say that, Dallin Kimball got it right, that a lot of people, a lot of great people have lived here for a very long time. I know a lot of them, and it's fantastic to see so many people. My kids have grown up here. I've lived here on and off, mostly on, for nearly 40 years now, and it's great. And then there's some people who have said, well, they move in, and I'm not quoting Dallin Kimball here. I'm hearing from other people as well who have said this, so I'm not pinning this on him at all. But he's also, but we've also heard from people who have come here for just the last few years. They want to save Prescott, and I understand that, but from what? This is a beautiful town, and it grows and it evolves. When I got here, there were 25,000 people in town. We now have about 50. There were about 6,000 people who lived in Prescott Valley. Now there's about 50. Chino has grown. Dewey Humboldt has grown. I can tell you there were times that I worked here in the late 80s, and I would be here until midnight. I'd shut the transmitter off at 10 after 12, and I would hop in the car and head for Prescott Valley. And I would go on Highway 69, which was a 2-lane road at the time, and I would not see a single car on the road between Prescott and Prescott Valley at midnight. That has changed, obviously. We have grown into a very, very large community that has well over 100,000 people in the immediate area. And you know what? To the city council, as I have said before, and I say it again today, your job is to serve the people of Prescott, not a minority, not the vocal minority. Your job is to serve the 75% the people here in this town who did not vote for you. You won the election fair and square. No doubt about that. Not contesting that. But we only had about 50% turnout, I believe, if I remember correctly. And I think it was less for the general than it was for the primary. And that's a lot of people not voting. Well, they're working. They're doing other things. Maybe they don't care. It's their business. It's their right. It's this country. But you still have to serve them. Well, how do you serve people who don't want to be civically involved? Simple. You provide for the infrastructure. You build the roads and you fix the roads and you improve the roads. You improve the fire department. You improve the police department. You make sure that they can do their jobs. You improve the first responders. You improve the infrastructure, the electricity. You improve and make sure and make deals to make sure that our electrical service is okay, that the utilities can operate. And most of all, you make sure that our economy can operate by allowing businesses to build and expand and grow in this community. That is most important, to make sure that we have jobs. And eventually also to make sure that there are jobs available for those who graduate from Embry-Riddle and graduate from Yavapai College and graduate from Prescott High School and Bradshaw Mountain Middle School, Bradshaw Mountain High School, and things like that. And there should be jobs for kids. There should be jobs that, as a child, we did. You make your bones and learn skills at 16 and 17, working at as a fry guy at McDonald's, or at one of the restaurants as a waiter or a waitress, or even as a line cook, or doing a number of entry-level jobs and growing and learning and expanding your horizons. That's what we need to be able to do. And the council can help with that by helping to encourage businesses to move here and open here. That's what they're supposed to be doing. And I hope that they will in the coming year. The mayor and the new council, let's see what they can do. Let's get them, as I said, you've got to work towards the majority. This is not the time for, what do you call it? Trying to fulfill an agenda. The only agenda the council has is to provide for the vast majority of people that live here in Prescott, and those people didn't vote for you. Fulfill what they need. Make sure that they have the basics. Make sure that Chief Dura and Chief Bonney has what they need, and they're getting there. Make sure that our city staff has what they need to make good decisions, and make sure to send good information up to the council for their decisions to be sound as well. That's what we need. The only agenda is the health and well-being and the expansion of the economy for Prescott and her citizens. All of them, not just a few. Okay, we got a few more things to go over. Last segment coming up. Hope you've had a wonderful day out there. We're going to wrap it up here on KYCA after this. Okay, we're back here on the KYCA PM show for the last segment, and if you look on Facebook, there's a picture there that I have to disavow simply because I just was really, really bad about this. Yes, that's me pulling Santa's beard just to make sure that it was real, and it was, of course, because it was Santa and Mrs. Claus. I shouldn't have done it, but they said, go ahead and try it. And then, of course, I forgot cameras are always on you wherever you go these days. So there it is. I'm getting coal this year, but you can burn coal, and that's okay, and stay warm. So, all right, Santa, bring it on. That's fine. Bring on the coal. I'm good with that. 928-541-1016. We've only got a few minutes left here on this. Now, tomorrow morning, of course, we're going to be hearing from Steve Sishka and Kel Palguda in the morning show. And then we've got the big KYCA Christmas party with Lisa LaChapelle Dandos at Lisa Live as she wraps things up before Christmas. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have a classic Christmas. Haven't decided what shows yet. If you've got a favorite, just post it on Facebook on the show here that we have here. I had a question from one of our regular listeners, a couple of questions, actually. Let me see if I can bring those up real fast. And Chris, yeah, I appreciate that. Is the recreated Christmas play you recently did ever going to be replayed on KYCA? Well, we didn't record it, so but I'm going to tell you something. Okay, I'll tell you a little secret. And Chris, this is just between you and me. Everybody else, just kind of plug your ears for a minute. I'm just going to tell this. I am meeting the people who put on the play for Charlotte Hall, and by the way, that was a fantastic thing. Loved every minute of it. Charlotte Hall always does a great job. And this was, I think, their 5th year that they did this play or a version of it at Charlotte Hall. It was wonderful. The audience was great. We had a kick. It was a lot of fun. I'm talking to the people who put this on, and we are going to be discussing the possibility of doing a couple of live things through next year here on KYCA. We may take a 4 p.m. show and do a 1-hour drama with live local people doing it. We just might do that. It's radio. We might as well do it. The golden age ended in 1962, but it still lives on here on KYCA. So that's one thing. The next thing is Dan Bongino coming back where he belongs on KYCA. I honestly don't know. He hasn't even left the FBI yet. I have talked to various networks. I am certain, although that nobody has said anything definitive, of course. If Dan Bongino wanted to come back on radio, he would be welcomed back on radio, and I think we would be able to make a room for him here on KYCA. So that's what I'm hoping for. I have no idea, and believe me, if we hear anything and we consider it and take him back, you'll be the first to know. I promise you that. So there's your answers for that. And of course, Marianne, who's going to be here on Friday morning with her guest, Chris Kuknio, posted a comment to me on Facebook where she said, "Oh, Jason, that can't be true about coal and you getting coal. Are you kidding me? Oh, yeah, shovels full is going to be coming down the chimney, I think. Shovels full. You just don't pull on the beard. You just don't do it. You should know better, So anyway, sorry, Santa, really. And Mrs. Claus, I'm very, very sorry. I really am. But we'll try and do better next time. But we hope to see you a year from now here in the studios once again. And I think we will. I'm hoping so. Anyway. Okay. A couple minutes left. Not enough time to really get into something else I wanted to do, but that's okay. It's fine. Folks, instead, I'm just going to ask you. This Christmas, we've got a couple days left. Have you hit all your presents? Have you gotten all your wrapping done? Great. Think about the neighbor next door. Think about the elderly neighbor down the street. Have you got something extra to take into the food bank? Please do so. They are still in need, and they're going to be after Christmas as well. So are a whole lot of people in this community. Are there clothes you can give away? Go talk to the food bank. How about toys built up for next year? That too. Their big giveaway was last week. Can you look in on an old friend? Can you forgive somebody in your heart, welcome them into your home or at least onto your phone, and say Merry Christmas and thinking of you? Because forgiveness helps ourselves. It's not for them, it's for us. But it doesn't hurt if it helps them too. So be thinking about all that the next few days. And if you're done with everything and running around, take a few minutes for yourself and take a few minutes for others around you, friends, family, and even the strangers across the street. Folks, have a wonderful Christmas. Hope your Festivus was great. Looking forward to the rain, and we'll see you later on. Tune in tomorrow night for Classic Christmas and tonight at 6. Thanks. Merry Christmas, folks. Merry Christmas.